Welcome back to mckilliplife. My name is Amber and today we're in the kitchen. Today is a very, well, it's not crazy cold, but it's a cool day. It's currently foggy and it's supposed to be snowing later today. And it just seemed like a good day to get in the kitchen and make some soup. So today I'm going to try out this recipe for the first time. It's a Crockpot chicken and corn chowder. So I'll take you along and we'll see if it turns out to be a good recipe. So far in the pot I have a package of frozen corn, I think it was a 12 ounce, and then some diced onion. It asks for a half a yellow onion finely diced, but I already had some diced onion in the refrigerator, so I just put in what seemed like a good amount. And I'm boiling some water right now to make some chicken broth, and I have chicken breast thawing in the microwave. So to continue, I'm going to just go ahead and mix up the chicken broth. I'm using better than bouillon chicken, and it's asking for 4 cups, so that means it's going to be 4 teaspoons of the better than bouillon. I like to find a different option for bouillon because I don't like using things that have MSG, and this one has hydrolyzed soy protein, which is just another name for MSG. But I have looked at bouillon stuff and it seems to be very far and few between to find one that doesn't have that in it, because they're meant to make things taste good. And I'm going to add 4 cups of hot water. So the recipe calls for 3 russet potatoes, cubed into 1-inch cubes. I already have 2 russet potatoes that I had, made in the pressure cooker and we didn't eat. So I'll do these 2 and then also pull out a raw one. This is going to go in the crock pot for 6 to 8 hours, so I think it'll be fine having the partially cooked ones and the raw ones together. This does ask for it to be peeled, so we'll see if I can peel this. Peeling pretty easily, just with my fingernail. This is going to take a minute. So I'm going to stop and check the chicken in the microwave. I'm sure I mentioned this before, but I like these cutting mats from Pampered Chef. And no, I'm not selling Pampered Chef. These are just things I've owned over the years. But it has a measuring line, stick, whatever, on it already. So when they say do it in so much inches, then you can just line it up on the mat and cut it to the desired length. Well, eventually, as you cook, then you'll hopefully learn to gauge how big things should be, but if the measuring is available, why not use it? Because that's actually bigger than I would have done. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do it smaller because I'm thinking about basically bite-sized pieces. Of course, these being already partially cooked, they'll probably break down anyways and not be whole, just in case. So this recipe is pretty simple. It just says put everything in to the crock pot or slow cooker, except for the heavy cream and cornstarch, which gets added in at the very end. But everything just gets dumped into the pot right now. Then dice the red pepper. It just says diced, so we'll dice it. Probably similar size as the onion I had already done. So what's the weather like where you were at? Are you expecting snow? What's a comfort food for you? Do you crave soups and stews and chilies? I don't really want to blend this soup afterwards, so I'm just going to go ahead and dice this finely since my family doesn't like eating whole chunks of vegetables. That's good enough. Add that in. So for the chicken breast, it doesn't say anything about cutting it, just putting it in, and later we'll be shredding it. So let me check the chicken. So this was frozen chicken. I just put it in the microwave on 50% power for basically 8 minutes. 4 minutes flip and then 4 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the pot. So the recipe calls for a jalapeno, and my store is actually out of jalapenos, so I'm gonna go ahead and do some canned. And I usually can't handle the heat of jalapenos, so I got some hot green chilies, and then looked online. They said the hot green chilies might actually be spicier than jalapenos, so I figure I don't necessarily have to use the whole can, and I can taste it and see how much I want to put in. That's pretty spicy, so I'm a wimp. So for the whole pot, I'm just going to do that much. And I'll give this a little chop too. So far we've added the corn, the onion, the chicken, the potatoes, the green pepper, and the red pepper. Okay, give it a stir. And I'm gonna go and mix up my chicken broth. I'm gonna give it a mix, so make sure to get all the stuff off the bottom. And pour it in. Teaspoon of paprika, teaspoon of salt, not the wisest thing to do is pouring salt over your food, but we survived. And it says a pinch of cayenne. The cream cuts the spiciness. And then ask for a teaspoon of minced garlic, a tablespoon. And it's asking for 2 bay leaves. I'll probably put 4. I like the flavor of bay leaf. I try to choose whole leaves so that when you're fishing them out, then you know that you got the whole thing. You're not looking for pieces and parts. You stir this and review the recipe. Okay, the only thing I haven't put in here is it's asking for bacon. It's saying six slices cooked and crumbled. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and cook 6 slices, only put 3 in the beginning because I like it to be crispy. So I'll put 3 in for flavor, and then at the end I'll add in the crunchy bits to the finished soup. The way I like to do bacon is in the microwave. You do a double layer of paper towels in the bottom. I like to use this kind of bacon because it has no nitrates added to it, and sometimes nitrates can trigger migraines, so it's nice to do it without. So just lay them out. And in our microwave, it's really simple. It's just 1 minute per slice of bacon. So this will go in for 4 minutes. And I'll show you how it turns out. So here we are. Now I do like crispy bacon, so that's actually kind of burnt. So 3 was too long, or 4 was too long. I'm gonna let this cool down a little bit and taste it and see if it tastes burnt. Usually this works out perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and do more, but I'm gonna do it for less time. Let's try 3 minutes this time. And I can always cook it for longer. In fact, let's do 2 minutes and I can check it. Okay, so let's taste this. I think it actually tastes fine. So I'm gonna do these 4, and then I'll cut up some of the other ones I'm working on right now. So here we are back at the pot. Add in these 4 pieces. Maybe I shouldn't have added the other salt because these are plenty salty. Too late now, we'll find out later. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover this up and put it on low for 6 hours. Okay, the timer has gone off in the crock pot, so it's now time to take out the bay leaves and pull out the chicken and shred it. And then after that, we'll be adding in the heavy cream and cornstarch. So this is what it looks like after cooking for 6 hours on low. So just gonna fish out the chicken. If I remember correctly, I put 3 in. And now comes the lovely search for 4 bay leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is. Yay! Okay. And now to shred it. The cornbread is in the oven. It has about 10 minutes to go. So it's shredding very, very, very easily. And my dog's patiently waiting for any fallout. Okay. Now to add this back in. Yeah, those potato chunks are still pretty big. It's worth breaking up. So now to mix up our slurry, which is going to be 1/4 of a cup of cornstarch and a cup of heavy cream. And it says once we add this in to let it cook on high for 15 to 20 minutes to thicken up. So the fun part of mixing up a cornstarch slurry is the weird texture. Feels a little bit small. So we can add the slurry in. I do want to be stirring this as I pour it. I thought I had that smooth. I wouldn't mind if the potatoes got broken up some more. After all me talking about what a wonderful cutting mat to tell you how big to cut it, I should have just cut it to bite-sized pieces. So it says put it on high for 15 minutes. So I'm going to cover it back up and put it on slow cooker high. Okay, it won't do any less than 30, so I'll have to set a timer. So the timer's gone off, so we're gonna open this up and see if it's thickened up nicely. I don't see that it's much thicker than before. I kind of wondered because my experience with cornstarch, you actually need to stir it. It doesn't really do it by itself. So I think I'm gonna change this to a saute function. Just trying to mash some of these potatoes. Chowder has a kind of red tint to it from the red pepper. As far as I know, that's the only red thing I put in here. It tastes nice. I think people can add their own salt to their own bowls at the table. I think it is thickening up, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and serve it up. Oh, and add the rest of the bacon. That could help with the salt. So we're going to try the cornbread first. We've already had this one before. This is just, I reduced the sugar from 2/3 cup to a 1/2 cup. I still think it's plenty sweet.
Tastes just fine.
So now, corn chowder.
Tastes good.
What do you really think?
It's hot.
And
It tastes good.
I'm gonna try to get a bit with the bacon in it. It's all good. Thank you for joining me today in the kitchen as we tried out the chicken corn chowder in the crock pot. Overall, our thoughts was it was tasty, and I was surprised that the red pepper contributed so much to the color and the flavor of the soup. I expected to taste more corn, but it was very tasty. Next time I would definitely cut the potatoes a lot smaller. You know, it still was fine. We can use our spoons to chop the potatoes up smaller because they're nice and soft. But it was very tasty, and I would definitely repeat the recipe. And earlier I was concerned about the salt because I put a teaspoon of salt and then also 6 strips of bacon, and it turned out perfectly fine. In fact, we added salt at the table. So very flavorful and good for a cold winter's day. Also, the cornbread was tasty even with reducing the sugar. So I would definitely recommend both of those recipes. Thank you for joining me again. This is a new channel, so please consider liking and subscribing. Have a good day.